Hi folks, how are we doing? Welcome to the track guide for the Super Formula Lights at Montreal or Canada, whatever you want to call this circuit. And it is rain and dry, tight wall circuit and giant lakes. What could go wrong? Right then, here we are in Montreal. What a nice little circuit this is. Do really enjoy racing around here, but you do need to be absolutely precise. And in the wet session, it is completely terrifying because there is puddles everywhere. So yes, it is going to be good fun. Very awkward to overtake around here. It's actually quite difficult considering the last chicane, Wall of Champions. You can't really go too wide through there, but the slipstream is going to be so powerful in this thing. I don't think we're going to have trouble going too wide in there. I think we'll be over the overtake and done. Also, plenty of opportunity on the hairpin before that corner as well. So plan your overtakes, get through the field, and you should be absolutely golden. But the wet session, the spray around here, along with the tight whitish grey walls, it's going to be difficult to spot your braking zone in the slightest, particularly on the first few laps. So if it is raining, which I highly suspect the fix is, just take it easy. And you kind of have to take the racing line through here and get up on the curb to miss the puddles, because you can't go off the racing line through these chicanes. And this circuit is literally like 3 chicanes, 1 hairpin, 4 chicanes and 1 hairpin. And yeah, it's just... yeah, I'm going to show you on the slight breakdown lap, but these puddles around here are really, really annoying. This corner here is not flat in the slightest, which is really, really shocking. And the braking zone is this one. Look at the puddles out there, and I'm just going to call them lakes from now on. I say puddles too much, it's going to be lakes. But anyway, these are the track conditions that I use. So I use a fixed weather forecast, if you want to call it that, because I don't want the laps to change through this practice session that I have done. I want it to stay consistent, so that's what I'm doing. So this is where you can see the 2 laps, and depending on how wet it is, you can, adjust your racing line accordingly. So that's the idea with this track guide. I show you a dry lap and a moderately wet lap as well, which I think is probably the most we should be seeing in iRacing. But then you can compare the two and see how they are different in lap time, application of throttle and braking points, things like that. So they're all good for you on there. Otherwise, if it's this, help you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, and love the YouTube stuff. Otherwise, not be waffling. Let's crack on with it. Right then, this is the start-finish line. We're actually starting quite far down the grid. The start-finish line is here, so bear that on the last lap because it is quite a long way down there. But we are hunting for turn 1, and we want to stay on the right-hand side as best we can, and we're looking for this little bit of grass turf just here, just so we get to approaching that, brake in a nice heavy straight line. Third gear through this one. Do not touch that curb too much. It will bottom out the car and ruin your corner. Drop it into second and then first. Hug this corner as best you can. Stay really, really close until end of the pit lane there. The white line on the left-hand side just disappears. Then let the car drift out naturally. Open up the steering and get on full throttle as soon as you can. Be careful of the wheel spin. It can spin there quite easily. Cut the corner on this one. Just get a direct straight line to sort of the 2 marker board there, and we're braking at the 1 marker board just there. Again, nice heavy braking for this one. You can take a little bit of speed through, but kind of give it a little tickle of the curbs. I found it did unsettle the car, particularly this one. Makes you understeer if you bottom out, and then just a one-way ticket to that white wall here on the right-hand side. So try not to cut the curbs too much. This car does bottom out a lot. I have noticed this driving around. So you can take the curbs a little bit, but don't take them too much. Hug this white wall and get in a nice straight line for this braking zone, and we're braking at the end of the white wall here. Just as we get to it, brake again, really, really slow the car down, really, really compromise this one. We want to stay far left as best we can. Again, don't cut that apex curb too much, but we want to be on full throttle for this one, and that's what I mean. You can take the curb a little bit like that. You can take that full throttle because it will benefit your straight line speed down this little straight, so try and maximize your apex. So compromise the first one, maximize your second one. That would be the similar thing to do with this one as well. So we want to brake, actually brake sort of just as we go under the bridge at the 2 marker, just after it. So brake again in a heavy straight line, then turn it in, try and give the curb a little cheeky tickle, and you can mount this one a little bit more as well, but be careful about mounting too much because you will oversteer and end up in that white wall there. Do not do that in the wet weather, as you will find out. Coming down to the hairpin now, this is probably going to be the one of 2 best overtaking opportunities through here. Dive bombs will happen. So we're braking at the 2 marker. Actually, we're braking about halfway down after it, but between the 1 and the 2, so probably about the 150 mark. Brake nice and heavy all the way down to the first gear. Now, do not take too much curb. I found when you start getting on throttle and the car is on the curb, you were spinning out. So be cautious about that. Avoid that apex curb and avoid that wall on the left-hand side, obviously, but you do spin out if you do touch the apex curb, so bear that in mind. This is the longest straight in the world, so we'll be going down here for a hell of a long time. This is going to be probably the best overtaking opportunity. If you're right up there bum going into the hairpin, I wouldn't even bother doing it into the hairpin. I would do it down here. The slipstream is strong in this car, and it's going to be even stronger down this long straight. So hunting for the braking zone, we are using this 2 marker right here. Just as we get to it, stand on the brakes. Now we can take a lot more speed in here than we think, but do not hit the white curbs. It really unsettles the car in this one. Try and just get the red and white and you'll be fine. Get as close as you dare to the Wall of Champions, and there will be people that hit that, so be cautious. But that is us done and dusted in a dry lap time around here. Very, very fun, very, very enjoyable. And now we've got to find out about the wet. Right then, it's dark, it's grey, it's chucking it down, so let's try and do a lap round here without touching any walls. We're staying mid-circuit for this one, and we're braking just as this tarmac bit there sort of disappears out of our view, just so we get around that right kink. Brake in a straight line, do not lock a tyre around here, and look at that lake on the apex. Avoid that, just run it round, and you'll be absolutely going second gear for that one, and then drop it down into first. Try and get away from the puddle and away from the apex, but don't go into the pit lane, sort of exit there. It's not worth it if there's a car coming out of pit lane, you don't want to collect him. Smooth application of the throttle, and be very, very easy. Try not to drift too far out there, because there is a curb, so don't touch that one, you will spin, and then just be nice and cautious. We're coming over here to the left hand side of the circuit though, but not all the way, because we want to be off the racing line. We're using that tree, that dark tree off of the two, just as we pass it we want to brake in a nice steady line, and then this is where we need to really slow the car down. We tickle that curb on the way through, try and keep neutral on the pedal and the throttle, and be careful about the understeering, so avoid that curb there. Let the car grip up before you get on acceleration, so you don't hit that curb or wall on the outside. Be careful of that puddle there on the left hand side, that is very dangerous, and we want to run all the way around the outside. You see me correcting the steering, it is very sketchy around there. Look at my throttle, barely 50%, and then we're on the straight. Braking point is the end of this orange marker just there on the wall, on the pit, on the barrier, whatever it was. Very, very useful for it being there. So brake all the way to the outside of the corner, turn it around. Again, I want to get on the apex of this one because I want to compromise this one to try and maximize this corner here. Again, I don't want to go anywhere near the curb and near that lake, so I want to get a nice straight line. Again, feather in the throttle, feather in the steering, trying to keep the thing in a straight line without touching any curbs or walls. Once we get on the straight, we're absolutely golden. We can go full power and let the downforce kick in. And again, we don't want to be on the racing line braking here. We want to be middle of the circuit sort of thing. So braking way before this 2 marker, a couple of car lengths before it. Brake under the bridge. The bridge should be slightly drier, so we do get improved braking. And again, tippy toe around here. Little tickle of the curb there. And you see how a little bit of snap of oversteer just through here a little bit. There it is. A little bit of correction of the puddles. Again, just be cautious through that. Look at my nice linear application of the throttle. Nice and smooth, nice and easy. This is what you want to do around here. Try and avoid the puddles. The hairpin is going to be carnage in this braking zone, particularly on the first few laps. So try and be as safe as you can. But we're way before on this 2 mark, a couple of car lengths. Again, off the racing line, braking in a straight line, nice and gently, nice and consistently, and then run it to the all the way to the outside of the corner. Whack on the steering, first gear, let a little limp through, and then try and get a straight line as best you can, and then go full throttle. Avoid these puddles coming up here on the left hand side. You will get wheel spin through them, and you will get a little bit of snap of oversteer, so be cautious about that one. But yeah, just try and keep it as straight and as smooth as possible, and once you get up to this speed, puddles don't matter too much because downforce is doing its thing. Now, overtaking down here with the spray is going to be interesting, so good luck for this one, but I'm staying far right hand side here. As you can see, I'm staying way away from that racing line, and you can actually brake at the 2 marker. A couple of car lengths before it, you can brake relatively heavy, and the car does decelerate very, very well. Again, we're very, very slow through here. Little tickle of the curb, and a bit more curb on that one just to get the rotation. We do aquaplane a little bit, and there is a nice puddle there as well for good measure on the curb. So again, a smooth application of the throttle. Make sure sort of with these things, like, you smooth the application. If you feel a bit more, try and push a little bit more. If you get wheel spin, ease off a little bit, and you should be absolutely golden. But that is a much slower lap round here, but that is us done and dusted in the wet. Right, both laps done and dusted. Fingers crossed that has helped you out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to that lovely YouTube stuff, as I know you will, and good luck out there. This car in the wet is a little bit tricky, so basically, as long as you don't worry about lap time, as long as you can survive and finish a full race length by not spinning, not crashing, you will finish well. There will be lots of crashes in the wet, particularly around here, because once you crash, you slide off, there's going to be a wall. Montreal is a street circuit, there's lots of walls everywhere, so there will be a lot of carnage and a lot of DNF, so make sure you're not one of them. Otherwise, as I mentioned, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the track.